G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. How are we all doing on this lovely day? Today we're doing another Should You Buy This Motorcycle? And we are talking about none other than the CFMOTO CL-C Bobber. Alright, if you're new around here ladies and gents, g'day, my name is Nathan. I make videos about motorbikes and all things motorbikes related. If you like my content, please leave a like, comment and subscribe because we're growing this channel, aiming for that 10k soon. It's going to be lovely and lush. Without further ado, let's get into the content of the day. And look man, this is one of those bikes, unlike a lot of them, I've done about a 50-50 split between bikes I've ridden and bikes I haven't ridden. This one I have ridden. Now the CL-C Bobber is a gorgeously styled little thing that CFMOTO has made. It's $9,500 right away. But if you're looking at bike sales, I don't know about the other countries, this is specifically for Australia, you can find some for as little as $8,000 and they're basically brand new. So it just depends on where you look around, okay? Now, it's got that beautiful bobber styling, as the name would suggest. It's got that slam to the rear wheel guard, which I think looks very nice, especially when they get the white walls on them. You get a short front fender as well. You get that lovely floating style. It's not quite fully, but it's a floating style solo seat as well. So the Bobber, I believe, is a single-seater. Yeah, there is a standard CL-C as well, but we're just talking about the Bobber because I know that's going to be very popular. All right. You got a really nice big front tire as well, much like the Honda Rebel. So it's got a few similarities, but I do actually think the CL-C Bobber looks schmick. Okay. This bike has a few features, which is surprising for the price range it's in. It's got a lovely little TFT dash. It's a little round one on the front of the bike. It covers your speedo, your RPM, but the RPM is a number as opposed to a little, dial thing. It's got a fuel gauge, which is great. A lot of bikes don't get them these days. A clock, a side stand light, which is pretty snazzy, and all your standard, dash lights. Like your lights are on, your high beams are on, oil, stuff like that, okay? This is a learner bike, so it's a LAMS bike and it's LAMS approved, meaning you can ride this as your first bike as an L-plater, okay? It makes 30 kilowatts at 8,000 RPM, aka it's about 40 horsepower. Now, 42 newton meters at 6,250 RPM, which is 31 pound-feet of torque, that's about 1 newton meter less than the Rebel, which not much, but you know what? In this category of bikes, I don't think you're going to care too much. Now, this bike makes a good low to mid-range torque, but because the engine's still a sporty thing, it's still got a little bit of top-end power. Not the most, but it's there. It's sporting that lovely 449.5cc 270-degree crank, which gives it that delicious exhaust note, much like the crossplane of the Yamaha, MT-07, R7, stuff like that. You've heard the 450 SRs or SSs, I don't know which model comes in your country. They sound nice, okay? For a twin, they sound nice. Especially an inline twin, a parallel twin. They sound good, alright, compared to the 180-degree crank. This bike, unlike most learner cruisers, is actually a belt-driven bike, which is fantastic if you're just getting into bikes and you know nothing about maintenance and you don't want to learn about maintenance. Belt on, check it if it's cracked every so often. You never have to worry about anything else. It's so, beautiful. It's a 6-speed transmission. What more could you say? So that 6th gear is going to be pretty useless in terms of top speed, but it's going to be your cruising gear when you're going on long journeys on the freeway. It's also got a 12-litre fuel tank. I don't know what the mileage is, but for an engine of this size and the bike of this weight, you'll get pretty good mileage. This bike features a low seat height of about 715 mils or just over 28 inches, but the website mentions the spec twice, and the second mention is 690 mils or 27 inches. Don't know why there's a 25 mil discrepancy there, but it says it twice, so I'm going to give you both readings. Don't know why, don't know how, it's just how it happened. This bike, as in the CL-C Bobber, is actually 20 centimeters longer than the standard CL-C, meaning it's going to feel a little bit more stable when you're riding around. Obviously in your corners you might notice it's a little bit more cumbersome, but not by that much, alright? 20 centimeters, it's a good little chunk, but it's not outrageous. So if you ride them back to back, you'll probably notice a little difference, but it's not that bad. It also has it's like mid pegs, but they're a little bit set backwards, not quite fully mids. And it's got a forward handlebar, meaning it still feels quite sporty, quite comfortable to ride. I can see doing big trips on this bike probably going to suck a little bit. Maybe the regular CL-C will feel better in that regard, but as a good looking town bike, commuter bike, this is spectacular. And in fact, the stock exhaust on this bike sounds much better than it has any right to sound. It still doesn't sound great, okay? It's a stock exhaust. But it sounds way better than my Honda Rebel did. That thing sounded like a sewing machine. This at least has a little bit of throat to it. And it's, honestly, it looks kind of nice. If you could just drill out the baffles, I would. Alright, if it's possible, and I had this bike, I would. This bike features a 37mm upside down front fork. It's also got a 320mm single rotor disc at the front. It's also got a 4-piston caliper at the front, which is 2 more pistons than the Rebel has, which is quite nice. And it also has a delightful 220 rear disc with a single piston caliper, which is more than enough for these bikes. Okay, you don't need the strongest brake known to man for this bike. This bike actually comes with traction control, which if you're a Honda Rebel fan, you know we don't get, but it does have ABS as well. I don't know if you can buy this bike without ABS. In Australia, we don't have the legal option to buy a bike with no ABS unless it came that way from the factory. All new bikes have to have it. So if you want a new bike without ABS, you can't do it unless you change something on the fuse box, if you can do it that way. Or you buy a bike where you can disable it in your sports mode settings. But in this category, not a chance, man. This is a very, very light bike. It only weighs 177 kilos, dude. That's 390 pounds wet. The Honda Rebel's 192 kilos, at least the 21 model was. Do you understand? That is fantastic. For a cruiser bike to weigh 170 something kilos. Outrageous. This doesn't happen. Most cruiser bikes that you're going to be upgrading to, not a chance. The Rebel 1100, it sits just like a 211 or 200 something kilos, unless you get the touring model. I think it's 230. The Indian Scout Bobber's 250. The Indian Chief is 304. You're seeing the trend here, dude. It's heavy, okay? Most cruiser bikes are not light machines, and this is pretty well known. So to have something that's 177 kilos, I'm all for it, okay? I'm all for it. Now, this bike comes in only 2 colors, okay? Nebula Black, which is the one I saw, and you know what? As it's a bobber, Nebula Black suits it perfectly. But the Ivory White doesn't look bad either, okay? It's a preference thing, like all things, but I've only seen it in black when I rode it, and I think I saw one in white when I went to a dealership, but I could be wrong. But it's a nice white, but you know, black you can't go wrong with. My time on this bike was incredibly short-lived. I took it for a little loop up and back just to give it a test ride because one of my clients at work bought a bike because I talked to him a whole bunch and he got convinced to buy one. Look, they're light, they're easy to sit on, they're very comfortable. If you like CFMOTO as a brand, you're going to enjoy this bike. They're cheap, easy to get your hands on, so there's no issues in supply and demand stuff. I don't know how they are for parts, I don't know how they are for reliability. I can't comment on any of these things because I've never had an experience with them besides the short ride I had. But because they're becoming so popular, I see parts will probably be a little bit easier to come across if you need them. Reliability, look, it's a hit or miss from what I've been told from all the brand, not specifically this one, but there is enough people riding 450 SRs for me to have confidence in this bike that it will last you. And if you do damage things, it's a cheap bike, okay? Especially if you give it a few years. So say you're underage and you can't get a bike yet, or you're not looking to buy a bike for the next 2-3 years, you'll be able to pick one of these up for probably like $6,000 to $7,000. And honestly, I would. It's a phenomenal bike. It rode really well. It doesn't blow your socks off, so you're not going to lose control and get the whiskey throttle taking it away from you. It's comfortable, not for your long stints, which is fine. The Rebel's not good for that either. It's good looking. It's got a nice TFT. I like that it's a vintage style dash still, as opposed to just being a number. Like, I like dials, dude, but that's not how bikes come these days. But the fact that it's still got one, even if it's digital, I'm happy with. The stance is good, the size is good, the weight is phenomenal, especially if you want to have a few spirited rides in the canyons. Dude, if you want to get a bobber and you don't want to spend a lot of money, look at the CLC and see what you think. You chuck some white wall tires on this thing and it looks gorgeous. But that's some thoughts and opinions. That's some objective facts. If you had any opinions with this bike or any rides on it yourself, let me know down below. I'd love to hear your own opinions on the bike. Otherwise, give it a Google and tell me what you think. Otherwise, that is all I have time for today, ladies and gents. Take it easy. Keep it cheesy. You know I love you, but it's time to leave you. Have a good day. Peace. Bye.